A Norfolk man sentenced to 132 years in prison will soon be with his family. Former Governor Terry McAuliffe granted a partial pardon to Messiah Johnson.
Only News 3 spoke with him from behind bars. Jessica Larche has the exclusive interview.
Messiah Johnson has spent decades dreaming of a life beyond prison bars.
The actuality of my liberation made manifest would be a little surreal.
A Norfolk jury sentenced Johnson to 132 years in prison for a robbery that ended in no injuries or deaths or had any hard evidence. 20 years into his time, Johnson's fight for freedom is closer than ever to becoming reality.
I just look forward to it and just, going through that experience of finally being physically liberated.
Before leaving office in January, Governor Terry McAuliffe said there is credible evidence that support Mr. Johnson's claims of being innocent. He granted Johnson a conditional pardon, meaning he'll soon be able to go home as his case works through the appeals process. What will that hug be like to you when you get to hug your family?
It's going to be very emotional for me.
All along, I have kept faith and trust that God would deliver him.
The Johnson family's faith has been tested since December of 1997. A Friday night at what was Rika's hair salon in Norfolk changed everything. Two robbers barged into the crowded business on 35th Street. One had a gun. The victims couldn't really describe to police what the robbers looked like, just that their faces were partially covered and one of them was wearing glasses. 2 weeks later, the owner of the salon saw Johnson walking out of a restaurant and called the cops.
We didn't really know what was going on. It wasn't until I got downtown and they said, you're a suspect in a robbery.
Court documents revealed Johnson had an alibi for that night. No DNA or fingerprints connected Johnson to the crime.
There's no evidence whatsoever other than the testimonies of the victim.
Johnson's first trial ended in a mistrial, and that's when he says Norfolk prosecutors offered him a deal, 3 years for a guilty plea. He refused.
My fight since day one has been about my actual innocence.
The second trial ended in his conviction.
If you look at my case, there are miscarriages of justice throughout, from the very beginning.
A few years ago, hope and help from attorneys with the University of Virginia Innocence Project. Their investigation led them to another man, Robert Humphreys, who was already in prison for other robberies committed around the same time as the Rika Salon case.
Pretty quickly realized that, oh yeah, that was my crime too, and confessed to it and said Messiah Johnson had absolutely nothing to do with it, and he signed a statement attesting to that.
That confession, court records, claims of innocence for 2 decades have all come down to this moment for Messiah Johnson.
It could still be a few months before Johnson is released and even longer before his case is resolved for good. The former owner of the salon still says Johnson is the one who committed the crime, but many jurors from his trial have written letters over the years regretting their decision. Jessica Larche, News 3.